Hello, everyone. Brother Element Claney with this week's stewardship video, and we're doing this on March 2nd. Hard to believe we're already into the third month of 2024, but here we are. So before we go too far, as always, let's read the disclaimer. No advice should be seen as a recommendation or endorsement, as I am not a licensed financial advisor and is for educational purposes only. Please do your own research. And this video is actually named uh, inspired by a disclaimer. And this video is called Eating Out Can Be Hazardous to Your Finances. Eating out can be hazardous to your finances. And this is squarely pointing at me as I do this video, because one of the things in my budget that I will transparently admit is eating out busts my budget oftentimes. So this is definitely something I need to hear for myself. Ecclesiastes 5:11 in the New Living Translation says, the more you have, and it's talking about money, the more people come to help you spend it. So what good is wealth except perhaps to watch it slip through your fingers? Now, this is not, if you read the whole Ecclesiastes 5 chapter in the Bible, it's not, and it's, by the way, Solomon, who was very wealthy. It's not a scripture against obtaining wealth, but it's saying that when you're doing it for the love of money type of wealth, then it'll slip through. And the more you make, the more you'll see your standard of living you increase, meaning you're starting to increase your standard of living. So you need to be conscious of that. And I thought about something as simple as eating out. And here is CNN did a news story on inflation and that the prices of eating out, specifically in fast food area, is going up. And actually, what inspired this is a concept that Wendy's is testing, and it's on the next slide, called surge pricing. So, but first, CNN talked about specifically in inflation and price changes eating out. So since 2020, out of home dining has gone up 26%. Overall inflation is 20%. So that's 6% over overall inflation. And just since 2023, it says out of home dining, so eating out, has gone up 5%. Overall inflation is going up 3%. So you could see in the area of eating out, that's why the name of the video, eating out can be hazardous to your finances. And they gave an example of McDonald's and the online sales. In fact, when you go through the drive-through, and I know this because I just recently went through the drive-through, and they'll ask you, did you use your app for this order? McDonald's online sales, percentage of overall sales. So 2021, it was 20%. Late 2022 was up 30. It was 30% of their overall sales. Now in late 2023, online sales now contribute 40% of their overall sales. So what we always teach, of course, in the video is lean into these numbers, and maybe you want to consider investing in McDonald's. And it is a pricey stock, but one of the things you could do is use an exchange traded fund to do it, where you have exposure to McDonald's, or we've talked about stock slices, or in Fidelity stock slices, or Charles Schwab stock slices. That may be a way if you're going to look at investing. But once again, do your own research. So let's take a look at what was part of the inspiration, this surge pricing. And so there was a news story in which Wendy's is going to experiment with, and by the way, their stock went down when they announced it. So before, when they announced it, it was trading around $19. It's now, because they've gotten a lot of criticism for it. As of Friday, March 1st, it closed the day at $18.02. Their high, if you will, is around $21, $22 in the last couple of years. But what Wendy's announced is something that airlines, Amazon, and concerts have always done during peak. They actually raise the prices. So it's the old economic concept, which is foundational of supply and demand. The more demand you have, the more the prices go up, right? Supply and demand. Less supply you have and more demand, then the prices go up. When you have an overabundance of supply, but not as much demand, then prices go down. So what they're doing is like doing lunch, say, for instance, they'll raise the prices. So they're experimenting with this. This may be something to come in the fast food or any industry. You see it all the time with gas prices. You could be driving down the street and you'll watch that electronic board change of the prices going up. That's what it is. It's surge pricing. So airlines have always done it. Amazon's done it. Concert tickets, and this was what CNN was highlighting. So now Wendy's is considering it. All right. So Luke 14:38 and 30, the Message Bible says, is there anyone here who planning to build a house does it first sit down and figure the cost so you will know if you can complete it? If you only get the foundation laid and then run out of money, you're going to look pretty foolish. Everyone passing by will poke fun at you. He started something he couldn't finish. So, what, from a biblical standpoint, if we are believers and we're utilizing our Christian, our scripture and principles, what we should do is count the cost. Look at these type numbers, and this I'm preaching to me right now. I'm teaching me right now because I am the eating out king to realize what this is doing to your financial budget. That and we saw the numbers before they increase, and then realize if I'm just running out for convenience, I could be subject to and falling right into this surge pricing. So what's the thing to do? Of course, create a budget. That's foundational. And I've shared this uh, location on the Dave Ramsey site that gives you step by step how to create a budget. First thing is determine like where you are, and looking at. And if I look back, I tell you a lot big expense item in my budget is eating out. So I need to use that knowledge and adjust. So here's the location to create a budget. It's nothing mysterious or complex about it. Go out, you can pause the video, go out, and if you don't have one, to do one. Then the other thing we had talked about was this loud budgeting concept where people are telling others and saying, listen, I'm on a budget. Uh, and not being shamed by saying I'm on a budget. So with that, let's go ahead and transition over to our earnings. We're still in the midst of a heavy reporting of earnings, and it's almost like it's not even almost like, but it's providential in that the Lord had me do this at this time because what's the other counter to eating out? Well, fixing your food, using groceries to fix your food at home. And here's reporting Target. And Target has a huge now grocery section, just like Walmart. All right. So Target's reporting on Tuesday. Campbell's, big consumer provider, Campbell's soup, but they've got other food products. Kroger, which is, of course, a grocery store chain, is reporting, and Costco. Right. So this would, creating a budget and then eating at home, and it is like it's providential in that they would be reporting this week that I'm doing it. And I honestly did not know they were reporting this week when I was putting together what the subject and topic of this video would be. So with that, as we always say, Deuteronomy 8 and 18, but you are to remember the Lord your God, for it is he who is giving you power to make wealth. And what do we say? Leaning in. We gave the example of Wendy's, right? So instead of being a consumer or being trapped by this particular uh, strategy that they're doing with surge pricing, lean into it and be an investor into it. And talked about Wendy's. Their symbol was WEN, of course, to your own research. But here's an exchange traded fund called EATZ, EATZ, and within it, here are all these different eating places, which includes Wingstop, Shake Shack, Yum Brands, Brinker, I think is in here, maybe Domino's Pizza, Calva, Uh, did McDonald's we talked about earlier. This has exposure to those particular ones, and Eats was actually pretty affordable. It was trading at the close of the market on Friday, March 1st at $24.11. And then another one is PBJ. I think this is Invesco. Yes. And you get some exposure to Chipotle, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Shake Shack also. Wingstop, Archer Daniels being now you're going into the logistics change of the growing of the food. US Foods Holding, and that one was still pretty reasonable. It was trading at 40, closed at $46.52, and end of day March 1st. So let's look at overall market. Here's QQQ. We're still on a run of trading up. One of my uh, wife's friends was saying, "Hey, I'm loving the green in my 401k." She had asked for just some advice on which mutual funds from me, and I had and it was rough going. We first did this almost a year and a half ago, but now uh sticking with the way the allocation was, I can imagine the run for her has been great. Look at that. Because I want to say you started all of this about a year and a half ago. What a run QQQ has been on. Same thing with SPY, right? We had that dip going on that happened in October of last year, but then we've gone on quite a run. So I've seen a lot of uh, pontiffs, if you will, saying, "Hey, we're back in the squirrel and bull run." But as always, be cautionary. With that, that's this week's video. This is first one for March. As always, here's the different ways that you can like and subscribe to the video channel. You can also get on an email distribution list. I do a distribution list that you can email me, and as we always say, remember Jesus is Lord. Therefore, he is the owner of our finances, but we're his faithful stewards following his principles. And as I said, this one's definitely squirrely for me. If eating out is one of your things, cut back. And now this has definitely become for me something that I want to make sure I start doing because it does put a huge hole in your budget. So we'll see you next week.